Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. So we're a little bit higher today. Easy in here. It looks like there's a couple of levels that we're going to have to key in on. 105 was a previous point of control. And it's a low yesterday. High though is 120. Yes, was. It's a low. So I mean, buying is good. I would prefer to go short, but why? Why are they doing that? Oh, we got the jobs report in 10 minutes, by the way. That's important. China says it will retaliate with tariffs on $60 billion in U.S. goods. I thought they were trying to de-escalate things, guys. Come on. Any unilateral threat or blackmail will only lead to intensification of conflicts and damage to the interests of all parties. They're not going to give up. I don't think so. The only way that Donald Trump is going to pull this off with China is if he gets everybody else to go along with him like the other countries. Well, he is going to make a deal with the European Union, but is the European Union going to be willing to increase tariffs on China? Does not seem like it at the current moment. Well, we're at a swing high. This would be a place. Well, no, I take that back. I was thinking, you know, maybe this is a good place to go short, but I don't necessarily see it in the DOM. There's some outsized orders up above us, in fact, that concern me, that maybe we're going to trend up. That's a common thing to see lots of targets above us in the direction of the major trend. That's what we got there. Bitcoin continues to look ugly. And going down. Oh yes, I know what I'm forgetting. We've got to pull up the links. I've been pulling them up as quickly as I used to.
Minus spot 2, sorry, a spot 2 year on year, 7%, but Barclays and BAM will see earnings with Goldman see month on month, but 2.6%.
Okay. Big deal. Yeah, well, it did come down. I mean, I really only liked the short there because of the risk reward. It was equal to the last pivot, but before the news, nah, I don't want to mess with that, so it's okay. It's okay that it goes without us. We got pretty important ADP here, so, well, not ADP, but non-farm employment change in average hourly earnings is important. And they're expecting 0.3 versus 0.2, so it's very important that we hit that 0.3. If we get over that 0.3, it's going to be a big, big deal. Which is working today. Good deal.
Up then just climb to the bottom of the looking 100,000 and weekly hours 5 manufacturing pay and the private pay. US trade balance sits at $5 billion. Canadian trade June looking deficit.
Okay, they're pulling now. Got 3 minutes ago, they're already pulling pretty significant size. I mean, it was pretty light before, but now it's really light, only 1,000.
Ten seconds. It's over a minute.
I would much prefer to short this in general, but I don't know, based on the expectations, I don't necessarily see people positioned going into this, so it's going to be kind of hard to determine if it's more likely to move one way or another. But given the anticipation, I think, you know, there's probably going to be a move either way. So this pull is just too dramatic.
Ten seconds. Payrolls 157,000, unemployment rate 3.9%, earnings month on month 3%, year on year 2.7%, hours worked 34.5, labour force participation 9, private payrolls 170,000, manufacturing 37,000, the US trade balance deficit $46.3 billion, revised prior deficit of $2 billion, and Canadian trade balance at $6 billion, revised prior of $2.72 billion deficit.
So 191 versus 157.
Revised upward to 208,000 from a previous read of 230,000. Private payrolls have revised upward 234,000 from a previous print of 200,000, with manufacturing payrolls downward revised on the prior by 3,000 to 33,000. Average earnings month on month, the prior has been revised downward by spot 1%, a new prior of with working.
Oh, that's not good.
Prior being revised 34.6.
Okay, well, the overall delta is negative. In the 10-year at least, not in the 5. Let's see if the things thicken up here. I think off of that one, the numbers were a little mixed. So it's a little difficult to see which way they're going to go, although the initial move was up. Let's say the robots thought up. I think that they were right just because the payroll number was under expectation. But I'm a little concerned about this revision. The previous hourly earnings point revised down to 0.1. If I had heard that last time this number came up, I would have been for sure like, let's move up. And I'm just kind of watching this. I would prefer to buy it, but it's not really giving me a good buy location. So like, it's not really giving me anything that I think I have a super high percentage on. But we thought we were gonna head down to the lows of the year by Friday. That's the only reason why I say I would kind of prefer to short it, but the news was bad. I mean, I think the news should push us up, right? Well, the 10-year continues to sell. As long as I continue to see this divergence in the 5-year, I think I should probably stay away from it. Okay, well, that was a downtick there. It appears to me that the bids are pulling out. A little bit of sizes starting to form above us at 12.5. Zero Hedge is saying it's a payroll miss. Unemployment rate fell to 3.9. So probably you'd have to really dig into the numbers to see why it underperformed, because unemployment rate fell down. even though we didn't add as many jobs as we expected. Well, they actually had a head and shoulders pattern there, but it did not accelerating cell volume. Not, at least not across the board.
Energy news hearing that US crude oil 200,000 barrels.
But you could probably buy 12 if you really wanted to go long. 2 ticks from the pivot. 5.
In equity, and it is.
So there was a little bit of resistance up there, and the 5-year went through it, and new resistance is showing up above it. Well, they're absorbing quite a bit at 13.5. You're getting a lot of little red dots in the 5-year as well. Hmm.
in equity, seeing Boeing shares for 1% premium. And putting these details of products. It's airplane.
$42.31 is the 90-day volume point of control. $13.5 is a previous point of control, right? Well, I can see now that 13, but your risk has to be more than that, really, because it could fall all the way back to 11. This is going to get thick, probably. Big trades going on in the 5-year. There's a lot of buying. Okay. Well, I see that size at 15 moving away. Hmm. So it was getting close to 55, and then when they ticked up, it all disappeared. $58 now. Okay. I'm liking this is 6. I need to see the 5 years start to sell. May possibly mean seeing some pulling here.
These craft hindsight comparison impacting the aluminium.
5 year did not tick down. Stay down. 30 years going down though. I'm a little. So, one thing that concerns me is that the E-mini is above yesterday's close. And yesterday, the E-mini closed on the high. So, there could potentially be a bunch of, what is the word? How do I want to say? There could be some drama in the E-mini, you know? Still not, they're still not staying down. Oh, this has thickened up to 65 now.
Or from China's central bank, then raising the reserve requirement settlements and of stable operations of financial.
Previous making the statement not
There's a potential level break. Not a tradable signal in this action, but potential level break set up there. We'll see this is potentially shortable. Especially if they can get another tick down in the 5-year.
trade number, jobs number effective over average 1,000.
So the resistance here in the 10-year is starting to get bigger. And it definitely is starting to look negative, but the 5-year is not quite showing it yet. It's starting to, you can see there. Big order at 065. I like that. There's that one. But we still got these. So we kind of need to see those drop away.
From up euro dollars, then step 18s paying on 22,000. The offer there 22,000.
brief stack there. The 5-year almost ticked down. Okay, 5-year ticked down. Okay. The 30-year really came down there. Okay, so that 055 was one of the ones that I highlighted. And it's not 3 anymore, it's 2. The 052. So it looks like they moved it down. This 3 is here, this 3 is here. But they aren't hitting into 055. In fact, it's questionable if they're able to hold this offer.
PBS saying it's raising the reserve requirements, transparent and not discriminatory.
Maybe we need to reset the bond here since it's down at the bottom of its... It's hard to read what this in the bond is means because they've come off way more than 5 ticks down, but they've gone like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ticks up, and then 6 ticks down, and then 8 ticks up, and then 6 ticks down. So I think that the bond is saying no trend. That's what I think it means. Now, if they turn around here and go lower a little bit in the bond, that could really... It's this right here in the 5-year, though, I think matters more. 5-year is just on the edge of maybe flipping over in the DOM. Hmm. Yeah, I'm seeing the, the offers stacking and everything. Well, then they pull. And then they put it back down when it ticks down. But I'm just not seeing the sell volume. Well, I mean, I'm not really seeing buy volume either, but it just seems kind of... It's been up here for too long. Or should point out that there's a pretty big bid there at the 30-year. Showed up. Might matter. Overall, it's not in our favor anymore. Okay. That was a pretty strong bid right there. Strangely enough, that time the offer did not pull.
Hearing from Italy, PM Conte's government has decided the budget out and
Here in CF, they are absorbing at 06. Okay, they did finally sell there. 1773. But he moved it down.
And reform allow Italy to have more robust and stable growth.
Okay. And at 14, important that they're able to push through this. 4. Hmm. Okay. That was a little different. Looks like the offer is holding now. But we're not seeing the selling in the 5. 30 is not ticking down, even though there's only 68 there. But it is holding. Okay. 5-year tick down. Actually took out quite a bit there as they did it. So a little interesting in this area, like a tight range at a key decision point, and I get into a trade, it seems to me like whoever is the first big fish to bite and show something is the one that loses. Like they absorbed 5K at 14 and it doesn't hold and it's gone offer against them. And now if they're able to get a little bit more movement down, and I think that it would probably have to be the bond leading the way down. So 142.20 to go offer. And then the rest of them could fall. And then that 5K block is underwater and he has to unroll it. There you go. So seeing 33 at 13.5 is not necessarily a good sign, but so that's like the absolute low of the range, right? So lots of leaners here. Nice. Okay. Come on, 5. Let's do it. Yay. Take 052, please. Buyers hit 055, but it didn't actually go bid. Third 055. Win again. Okay. So now the 5-year has dropped out of its range. We've got the 16 to deal with in the 30, and it's been there many, many times. See all this stacking at 12.5. Okay, well that rush of sell volume doesn't necessarily make sense, because the 5-year's not about to tick down, the 30-year's not about to tick down. And you definitely wants to sell though. Well, that's a potential exit. I don't know, opening range, it's the open, 13. Okay, 10-year tick down, 5-year not quite going. Though it does have the sell volume. Offers are starting to outnumber the bids. It put up a very weak one. We're getting the selling and the 5 that we need. There's quite a divergence in volume between the 5-year and the 10. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. Well, I think you may have to just take +1 on this one. No. The 10-year is still telling me sell. But this 5-year is just not giving up. Yeah, if you blink first, you lose. I think so. It's like when you get in this range, it's like they're just waiting for somebody big to step in and reveal themselves, and then they'll go against them. And that's what happened there. I think it was 14. There was a 5K, so they pushed against him. But the problem was, is he didn't puke. Because then at 13.5 they held, and the 5-year just does not want to sell for some reason. That trade was looking really promising. Now key here is, look at this as this ticks up. Okay, so you are getting the 5-year following it up. Let's clear this all out. Let's clear this all out and reset it. So here, 5-year following it up. And you're following it up. But well, look at this. This is much thicker. Much thicker. Okay, so here goes the E-mini. They're going to probably try and sell it on the open. Here you can see they're trying to sell it. Pick up. There it goes. Very, very aggressive selling in the E-mini. Okay, there's the buying and the E-mini. So it's interesting that the buying was able to bury all those shorts. They come back on very little buying. And the treasuries all tick up. That don't really make sense, does it? I think as long as we continue to see this in the 5-year though. Potentially go short here, but I'm not so sure I want to go against the volume. This is not normal. But look at that. Buyer's still there. Fortunately, you're not seeing trending action, so it's not like you can buy 14.5. Yep, there he goes, a tick up. I mean, just based on the size in the 5-year, or the cumulative delta in the 5-year, this could definitely break that high. All of these shorts in the 10-year got washed out. That included us. There's a level break again. Well, they haven't done it yet. It seems really likely that they're going to break that high here, but they are not. They're just not doing it. It's just chilling. No, thank you, Wasim Khan. Says he's been watching for a few months. Well, thank you. I don't know if I'm trying to provide a service per se. I'm just still feel like my trading has some problems, so I wouldn't be like shadowing all of my trades and everything, but I hope that I do say things that are useful because I'm just pointing out things that we can see that are happening right now. And hopefully you can make your own judgments. No. So at one point that 15 was 7, right? Now it's still pretty thick. I mean, 5,000 is still fairly thick, but a lot pulled off of it. And they totally have the green light to just go here. Well, other than that, the 30 years not coming along. That's the one problem. The 30 years not coming along. But I mean, it seems like they should be just going. Let's see, yeah, I'd never shadow trade or trade against anyone myself, but it's interesting to watch your analysis and whatnot. I mean, you would have to have somebody that's pretty consistently wrong for that to work in the long run. The problem I've found is that very often when somebody's wrong, you trade against them, you'll still end up being wrong. Because many of the places where retail traders get screwed up, it may not necessarily be just because they're wrong about the overall direction, but because they're just in too choppy of a zone. And so they're going to get stopped down on one side and you're just going to get stopped down on the other. You know, like if I had bought 14.5 and then we had come down to 13 and I'm like, oh no, and I sold it, right? Not taking the correct risk reward really can really kill you. I mean, I'm tempted to sell it. I really am. I'm super, because that whole time that we were down there at 13, I was like, you know, really should have sold 14.5 instead of 14. And now we're back at 14.5 and it's like, well, you could try selling it again, right? But I don't know. There's this buy-in here in the 5-year that I'm a little concerned about standing in front of.
Block buy.
There you go. What's the deal with my mouse today? $15 was a single print. I think I gotta be careful about fading this. I think you could sell the E-mini here. I'm not gonna do it. I don't want to mess up the week's stats with the E-mini trade, but so I mean that was a place where you could have taken the as she goes and it would have worked out. Or at least you'd get 3 from it. Really though, the right way to have done that one would have been to be along 13. And we were kind of getting out there, but we weren't sure. I think I should have reversed there, but nah, you know, I don't think I would have reversed there because it's just not, you know, it would need to have been closer to 11 for me to really want to have reversed there. So Yoda did take 14. Oh, we got the 4. Yeah. Job. 5-year really went there. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm a little concerned about this one because they could eat through that 17 really quickly. Nope. So I took that one off because there was too much absorbed at 16.5. The only reason. I was worried that now they could try another level break. There's too much traded there. So that 77 though is going to be yeah, I still feel skeptical about this move. Like, I'm still looking for a short. I don't feel like they've built enough volume here above 15 yet to consider this a continuation. And that 077 in the 5-year has not traded and is significant resistance. We come back here, this whole thing could just push back down. It kind of depends though, like if we're buying here, like what are some of the reasons to buy? I guess trade war news numbers were a little bad. So you're hedging against economic uncertainty. That would mean that you're planning on the E-mini tanking here, right? And I did say you could sell it short around 28.30, and you'd be getting a pretty good trade here off of it. But the E-mini has not like dropped out yet. Maybe they're about to do it though. No. Well, why would I be nervous? I don't have a trade on. Yeah, I mean, I want to short 16.5. I really do. But it's just not quite. I figured I'd take the trade off. I woke up to a bunch of stuff in my house being killed by a power outage, so I'm gonna go get fixing it all here soon. Yeah, I got you. Would make me a little nervous to trade too, and power go out on you. This is just not doing it right. Like, there should be more than 5,000 at 17. I mean, I'm going to be frustrated when it doesn't. Okay, there. I think there must be news coming up here that I missed because they're pulling like there's news. ISM. ISM, non-manufacturing PMI. Okay. $55.7. Okay, well, there, as the news hit, they actually did touch 15. Oh.
Block by.
Shoot. Yeah, what's with this? Okay, now there's a big order at 16. I'll be careful. The behavior in this short has been a lot better, although I do wish that I had stuck to 17. So there was 6,000 bid at 16, and now it's gone to 3,300. Now it's 3,000, and only 264 sold into it. That's sorry, and they bought into 16.5, and it held, and they're stacking down on top of it again. And we've got pretty big pretty big offers above us as well. And only 395 traded at 17.5. So this one is much better. And it's still 3. Still 3 ticks risk, so this one is more like what I wanted. Gotta manage it though. The deal, what's the deal? Tick down. You live pretty in a fairly rural area, Uzi. I noticed that a lot of futures traders like to live away from the people, let's just say. Just outside Orlando. Oh, okay. When you talk about like irrigation and everything, I'm like, so does he live like in the Midwest? Pretty suburban, actually, yeah. Like, it isn't all of Florida just suburban everywhere, like, except for the jungle, of course. It's a little different when you get on the East Coast. Whenever I've been over there, I always feel like you never really get away from civilization out there. Like in Utah, you get outside of the city, there is nothing out there. There are not farmhouses. There's nothing. It is just desert as far as you can see. Central Florida is, they say, the further north you go, the further south you get. Yes. Yeah, because the far south Florida is more liberal. And the panhandle is more conservative, more traditionally southern. Interesting. But yeah, but then when I go out east, it's like, okay, you'll be out on the road and they get these forests on the side of the road, which is like really weird to me to like just see that kind of tree just along the side of the road. But like just on the other side of those trees, there will be some big facility or something. So you're never like out. You're never out in the middle of it. There's always something there. Okay, well, the offers have consolidated around 17. The 5-year, let's kind of get this going on. There's a little, they left a vacuum there. Offers have picked up. Oh man, so what the heck is going on here? Yep, exactly. Oh my gosh. Just gonna close like this and this, like what the heck? Am I losing my mouse? Is my mouse going out? I don't know what's going on here, but my mouse is acting weird. See, I'm moving it and it's not moving. Okay. Because it's not working. Just not, what the hell? Didn't like it. Okay, well, I am using a lot of memory. Close this chart. Okay. I think I would want to be holding it still. It's just like being fucking weird, like. I think it was the memory. I think maybe I should go buy more. can't scroll up and down the DOM without. Yeah, that would be really bad. I'm a little cautious about the way that it just did that. It sure is thick above us, isn't it? Okay, so a lot pulled off there. Hopefully if I had kept that, we'd be getting out. Well, not getting out, but like, I don't know. This is a little... I would certainly be a little nervous here about losing even the one tick that you had. Like, all of that to me says that, like, should have bought 15.5, and then maybe if you still believe in it, you sell it again. I actually do still kind of like it short. But I want to see what the 5 years is going to do here. No, okay. You know, the other thing here is that it's 8:19. I don't think my wife is awake, and she had to drive. We went to a wedding yesterday, and so she picked me up from work because it was quite far away, and then we completely forgot that we had picked me up, and that, you know, so we got home and I'm like, oh, my car is still downtown. So we just left it there. So she's supposed to drive me this morning, and she's not awake. So I probably better stop at 8:30 to make sure that she has enough time to get ready, that I'm not late. So I'm just trying to figure out here. Here in ZN, if you wanted to go long on that. This was a big question. It was like, okay, so the biggest change that I made this week was one, I added the stacking and pulling columns, and two, I've been much more vigilant about my risk reward. And what I've been doing is I've been saying, okay, where's the stopping point? And I can't be more than 2 to 3 ticks away from that. So like right now, when I took it at 16.5, I said, okay, there's 1, 2, 3. We're good. Is it going to trade 18? Unlikely. Okay. So I took a short 16.5. Can I take it short 16? 1, 2, 3. How likely is 17.5 to trade again? It could happen. At least when I took it at the time, it could happen. So that's what changed, right? So now when I look at this and I'm like, well, I want to go long 13, what could you have done? Well, it came down here. It didn't go down. It came back up. We traded 13 at, what is that, 13.5? And what traded last time we were at 13.5? I don't see it. I don't see a print there. So I don't actually know what, if you would have been able to have gotten filled at 13.5. So you could potentially have done 14. Could you have done 14? 1, 2, 3. Maybe. Maybe you could justify that one. So if you bought 14, which is what I think Yoda did. Where did he go long? That was way before that. Way before that. Oh, he went long at 14. After I got out. Yes. So if you wanted to go long, you could have potentially have done it here. But at what point did I decide? Okay. Yeah. So I don't think that you could get that position. It seems to me like the only way that I could have really taken advantage of that thing was to buy 14.5, which would have been a lot of risk potentially. But you could potentially say I'm not going to lose more than 1 on this, because it shouldn't, if it's going to go. I mean, if it's going to go, it's not going to take more than 1 against you if they're doing the level break. It's not. If they get more than 2 ticks against it, it's done. Wow. And so we couldn't have taken, so I can see why I was skeptical of it going long, and I can see why I'm still skeptical of it here. I feel like I've done a good job, though, of seeing when it's possible that even though you have a lot on the offer, that they could bust through it. Right now in this position, I think they could bust it. Because you got 6 there. If they tick up, at least 2K is going to pull off of that. And so then it will be 2x4, and then could they trade through that? Yeah. Especially if ZF continues to push up. So ZF made a new high, ZN did not. ZB just did. And now I think there is a potential short here, but it may not materialize until I'm gone. So you're going to get like the 9-9-30 move. I think it's going to have to be coming down and taking it off. But then again, this move in Treasuries does not necessarily make a whole lot of sense. They could still have another move in them. It's hard to say. But the Treasuries moving up like this does not really make a whole lot of sense, in my opinion. I don't see a reason for it to be doing this. Okay, well, we're not seeing. We're seeing a little bit of volume below us. Well, let's post the links. Okay, well, one last thing I guess we can do is look at the whole week. You know, going back to the 30th. Plus 3 ticks, hey. You know, we had some bad decisions in there. I mean, this one I think was a little bit of a revenge trade. Shouldn't be so good. And this one right here was a really poor against my strategy, and it took me out for 4 ticks. So, you know, this can definitely be a lot better once I get more you know, better at the execution of this, of these particular areas, these newer areas that I'm trading. Hold on here for a second. Just open up Journalytics and have it so I can get the actual stats. No, that's not right. And then do I have... Okay. All right, there we go. So 3 ticks overall, but then what were the numbers? Wins 45, losses 45. So that's good. So the win-loss, and we want to be around, you know, 45 to 50%. And we're getting more scratches, but that's okay. Then, but we want to keep this at 50, and then we just need to improve our risk reward. Now MFE and MAE. We are getting a little bit more favorable, but that's probably where we really need to work, is that we haven't really been catching. There was a couple that were really good and we didn't get, so that's where we need to get that higher, and we need to get that average winning trade higher. So that's where we're going to be next week. We got to just not miss the good trades and keep that win-loss ratio good. All right, anything else? Doesn't look like it. Well, it looks pretty trendy. I don't know. We'll see what happens after the London close, I guess. But I will catch you later.